So, fun fact, I had forgotten about this until I was online earlier talking to some folks, but I went to Talladega in 2002. I may have told the story already. If I have, forgive me, bear with me. But I went to Talladega in 2002. I can't remember exactly which race it was. Whichever race it was caution-free. But I had forgotten that was actually the race that Kenny Wallace, he would have finished like 4th or 5th or something like that. But he dove below the yellow line towards the end of the race, and NASCAR penalized him. But I had no idea that he was actually the first person to receive that penalty after the rule was incorporated. So he holds the distinction of being the first person penalized due to one of the stupidest rules ever enacted in motorsports. I do agree with track limits, okay, especially in road course racing, obviously. Some of the stuff that they were letting those guys get away with in Mexico is absolutely idiotic. There's just there's not a better way to say it. Just idiotic that they were allowing those guys to cut corners. Daniel Suarez in the Xfinity race in Mexico just completely drove off in the grass and cut the corner, came back on the track and had the lead. Nonsense, man. That kind of stuff I cannot stand. But the yellow line rule at Daytona and Talladega and now Atlanta, they claim was enacted for a safety issue to keep guys from going down there and causing accidents and stuff like that. How many accidents have been prevented because of that? Last I checked, every time they go to those tracks, they still wipe out half the field. So, I mean, there's no point for that rule anymore. Unless you're just saying that you don't want guys to go on the apron because you want track limits. Still doesn't make sense because they can do it at any other track that they race on. So, like, it baffles me. Let's just put it that way. Blows my mind. We're going to talk about some stuff today that might make some people's tummy hurt. So if you don't want to get angry, you shouldn't get angry, because what I'm going to say today is basic common sense, I would think. But this is a topic that people get offended, even for bringing it up. But we're going to bring it up. So I encourage you to bear with me, watch the video, and who knows, maybe we'll come around to be on the same page, And if you disagree with me, then comment and change my mind. Let's have a discussion. Let's talk about it. If you enjoy listening to me talk about motorsports, cars, anything else I feel like talking about, make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment, turn on notifications. If you're interested in diecast cars, t-shirts, hats, racing memorabilia, anything like that, I just took probably 200 pictures of more stuff that's going to be uploaded today and tomorrow. So the link is in the description, so make sure to check that out. If you see something you're interested in, shoot me an offer, and we'll go from there. Without further ado, let's get into it. So Arrow McLaren finally sealed the deal on purchasing Andretti Autosport's 86,000 square foot facility, I believe in Indianapolis. And so Arrow McLaren is trying to expand their IndyCar operation. And hey, the trajectory and everything is on the up and up. Pato's won 2 races now this season. Christian Lundgaard's looking good. Nolan Siegel's having some issues, I would imagine, unless things turn around in a swift manner. He likely won't be there for too much longer, I would imagine. I could be wrong. Hey, I hope I'm wrong for his sake, We'll see. So I wanted to talk about LeVar Scott a little bit. And just to say this up front, like, I'm not talking crap about the guy. I have no problem with him. I've actually been a fan of his. I've pulled for him in ARCA and so on. And then when he made his Xfinity debut, what was it, last week or the week before? There was some footage that came out, and I'm assuming it was his mother and his father that he was standing next to, and he was getting emotional. And look, I love that. I love the fact that he drives for Alpha Prime. It's one of my favorite teams in Xfinity. But what I don't understand is there was a New York Times article written about him, about his Xfinity debut. Why? Why was that written? We all know why it was written, okay? We all know why. And that's my problem. My problem is that even though I like LeVar Scott, he has not won in ARCA, unless I'm mistaken. And even if he has, that I'm unaware of, not to the extent to where they should be rolling out the red carpet for him. You know what I mean? And again, that's not a knock on him. Look, he's done more in the sport than I ever have. That's for sure. I never made it to ARCA or anything like that. So, yeah, more power to him. This is not a knock on him at all. This is a knock on media. Okay? I made Jeff Gluck try to dunk on me earlier because Jeff's the one who posted it, and I was, I commented and I said, why isn't every other guy getting an article written about them in the New York Times when they make it to Xfinity? There's been guys that's made it to Xfinity that's got a winning record and they didn't have articles in the New York Times. Like I said, we all know why. But Jeff was like, well, Connor Zilisch had one written less than a year ago. Connor Zilisch? I would hope so. I mean, the dude had a winning record and he was signed on to drive for Dale Jr. Obviously, he's going to have something written about him in the New York Times, deservedly so. And it's got nothing to do with skin color or anything like that. The fact that we're in 2025 and everyone is still so wrapped up in gender and race is baffling to me. I don't understand why. Why are we so narrow-minded that we have to focus on that? And it's another thing that NASCAR does. They find these guys and girls, and because of what their gender is or because of what their race is, they try to force them up the ladder before they're ready. And so outside of Darrell Wallace, there's not Bubba, whatever you want to call him. Outside of him, there's not been any that's really been successful. Rajah's been, moderately successful. I think he's won twice in the Truck Series now. For whatever reason, Rick's not giving him shots in the Xfinity car. I don't understand why. But regardless, outside of those two guys, there's not really been any that's been successful. And like I said, the reason for that, Tony Breidinger, I don't know how you say her, I don't know how you pronounce her name, is a perfect example. Okay? She raced in ARCA for 2-3 years? She was with Venturini basically the whole time, and that is the best team in ARCA, or at least it has been. And it certainly was while she was there. She never won a race. But for some reason, she gets promoted to the Truck Series, and this is not a knock on her. Again, I'm criticizing these people. I've never made it that far. I never raced a truck. I never raced an Xfinity car. I never raced an ARCA car. Obviously, they've done what they need to do to get to that point, and congratulations to them, more power to them. The point I'm trying to make is these kind of things need to happen organically. Okay? We don't need to push it to try to make something happen, because it's always going to fizzle out if you do that. Look at Hailie Deegan. Perfect example. Danica Patrick. Perfect example. To a lesser extent, Juan Pablo. I know Juan Pablo won a couple of races in Cup Series, but he was never a championship contender on a consistent basis. And it was the same thing. He ran a little bit in Busch and then straight into Cup. I just don't... the logic that goes into some of these decisions is just baffling to me. It's just baffling, man. And again, the New York Times, and this is the part that's going to really piss people off, but I'm just going to say it. The New York Times is a joke. It's a joke of a paper. I know that Jeff Gluck said what he said earlier because he's probably friends with whoever that is that wrote that article in the New York Times, and that's fine, whatever. And I'm not bent or upset about it. I'm just trying to make a point that we need to focus on merit and not things that don't matter, things that shouldn't matter. And like, again, we're in 2025, and it seems like we're more concerned about race and gender than we were 40, 50 years ago. I mean, everyone should be on equal footing. It doesn't matter what your race is, what your gender is, or what your sex is, whatever you want to call it. It should not matter. That should have no bearing whatsoever on your racing career. You know, you look at the coach from Notre Dame football program, when they won the championship. I think it was last year, I believe. They kept trying to push that racial narrative with him, and he may have changed his tune, but the few interviews that I saw with him, he was like, "No, this ain't about all that. You know, this is about the team. This is about everybody coming together and being successful. You know, and we don't pay attention to that crap, and you shouldn't. You shouldn't." That brings me to another point, though. Rev Racing, which is the team that LeVar drives for in ARCA. Well, how is it legal for them to practice business the way that they do? My point being is that they exclusively hire drivers who are women and minorities. They don't hire Caucasian men to drive their race cars. And they have some sort of tie with NASCAR, the sanctioning body itself. I don't know if they own the team or not, but it's part of their drive for diversity. I don't know if they still call it that or not. I know that's what they used to call it, but it's part of their diversity program, is putting people who ordinarily wouldn't have an opportunity to be behind the wheel in a race car. And I'm totally fine with that. Totally fine with that. But you can't do that at the expense of another demographic. There's laws against that in this country. Whether you want to say it or not, but it comes across as discrimination. It just does. How can you say that I'm going to hire women, I'm going to hire minorities, and I'm not going to hire Caucasian men? How is that? Again, 2025. We have laws, discrimination laws. It's supposed to keep that kind of stuff from happening. It's baffling to me, and it's baffling to a lot of other people, because evidently I don't know if the lawsuit is still ongoing, but someone filed a lawsuit against them in 2023 for discrimination for that very reason. You can't discriminate against any race or any gender, period. Not in this country. So the fact that they've been able to get away with it is just astounding to me. But I'm glad someone's doing something about it, because something needs to be done. That's just crazy. It's just blatant discrimination right out in the open. I don't know, just my thoughts on it, you know? Hey, if LeVar Scott makes it into the upper echelons in NASCAR and he's successful, that's great. I'm pulling for him. I hope he does. I really hope he does. But, you know, I don't want it to turn into a three-ring circus like it has with everyone else that they've tried to force up the ladder and end up, you know, and him end up washing out. I hope that doesn't happen. I hope he's successful. I hope he makes it to Cup. I hope he kicks ass, man. Like I said, I'm a fan. I've been a fan, you know, since he started. So I would want nothing less than that to happen. But, you know, let's focus on his ability, not his skin color. It's so stupid. And if I was him, I'd be insulted, honestly. Like, why am I any different than any other driver? Why? Oh, so y'all are gonna come over here and surround me and turn it to a three-ring circus because I'm a black man in motorsports? Nah, just treat me the same way you treat everybody else. Stop trying to make this into something that it ain't. We're all race car drivers. We all have a job to do. We all have to go out there and win races and run well. So, yeah, I'm no different than anybody else. That's how I would view it. And you know, I got DMs from people earlier calling me racist and all sort of kind of crap. This is the opposite of being racist. Okay, I don't want someone to be treated like a dog and pony show because of their skin color. That's the opposite of racism. Actually, I mean, it's the direct opposite. You know, It's just nonsense. People get their feelings hurt every time you start to even bring this topic up, even though it's something that needs to be talked about. We're regressing as a society rather than moving forward. And the more we keep focusing on this stuff, the more we stay divided, which is exactly the intent. So, anyways, if I made you angry, well, I love you. So don't be angry. All right? Let's all come together and let's be a unit. Let's be one. You know? Let's just be Americans. Let's do that. Such a novel idea. But if you enjoy listening to me ramble, talk about cars, motorsports, what have you, make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment, turn on notifications, share this video, the works. Like I've said before, we're in a copyright strike. It's due to fall off here soon. But in the meantime, if you would, tell your friends, shout it from the rooftops, because our reach is very limited for the time being. If you are interested in diecast cars, t-shirts, hats, any kind of motorsports memorabilia, make sure to check out our eBay. The link is in the description. We have a sale going on right now and indefinitely moving forward. So if you see something that you're interested in as well, shoot me an offer and we'll go from there. As always, I appreciate you guys watching. It means a lot. Until next time, God bless. Peace.